So as mentioned, we're still at objective 4. We're discussing the trends in animation and game design, the future trends. We already completed virtual reality, so we're going to look at augmented reality and gesture based. So augmented reality, let's see, Ariel, you can start the reading.
Augmented reality, AR, is an enhanced version of the real physical world that is achieved through the use of digital visual elements, sound, or other sensory stimuli delivered via technology. Augmented reality involves overlaying visual, auditory, or other sensory information onto the world in order to enhance one's experience. Retailers and other companies can use augmented reality to promote products or services, launch novel marketing campaigns, and collect unique user data. Unlike virtual reality, which creates its own cyber environment, augmented reality adds to the existing world as it is.
Good. So we should remember that virtual reality, as the last sentence states, it creates its own world, it has its own environment. So it's like if you're in the game, you're inside of this virtual world. But augmented reality is using the real world. So like you can see in this image here, if you look in the corner, there is no chair in the corner here. The books are there, but there is no chair. So augmented reality is going to add elements to your reality, to our reality, that is. So through whatever technology you're going to see this reality with, you're going to see other things a part of the real world. So that is augmented reality, adding to our world. So it can add visual elements, sound, and so on. Let's see, overlaying involves overlaying visual, auditory, and other sensory information in the real world to enhance one's experience. So just like in virtual reality, where it would try to cover our senses, so take over our senses, basically our sense of sight, hearing, touch, and so on, so that we can experience or basically be tricked into thinking we are part of that reality. Augmented reality is going to do the same also. Well, it's already going to give us visual, so giving us that audio also is only going to add more to the effect. So what is augmented reality used for? It's used in gaming. Zane, you can read that.
AR in gaming. In gaming, unlike virtual reality, augmented reality utilizes the existing environment and enhances it with an overlay of distinct features. In addition to this, augmented reality helps in creating a view for the players with intense video, graphics, and sound by using a device camera. For games on smartphones, augmented reality has become an important tool as it enables gamers to create their own characters, targets, and racing terrains. It also enables them to scan their local surroundings so as to invite their neighbors and create a virtual track.
Good. No, good. So, any of you ever played Pokemon Go?
No, sir.
Nope.
You ever played a virtual game though? Augmented reality game?
Yes, they had this game on Nintendo. I really can't remember what's its name, but yes, it did.
On Nintendo 3DS?
Yep.
The balloon game.
Yeah.
Where you shoot the balloon? Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Good times.
That was a nice experience of augmented reality. Did you know what we're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was augmented reality there, where you, it added to your reality. So it would actually take persons' faces and turn it into a balloon, and then you'd be shooting those persons' faces. That was actually a nice game. and then you would get a final boss, and then you have to be turning all over the place. Sometimes the balloons will appear behind of you.
Yeah.
You gotta turn around behind you and just shoot it. So yeah, that's virtual reality with augmented reality with gaming. So AR in animation now. Ariel?
AR in animation. Boiled down to its essentials, augmented reality animation software creates an image or 3D object with the software, then blends into a real life background. The combined image is viewed through the camera aperture of a cell phone. So, as the name implies, augmented reality animation adds something to reality that wouldn't otherwise be there.
Good. So remember we're still looking at this augmented reality all the time, and we already understand that augmented reality adds something to the real world. But just that it can be used in different scenarios, different cases, and so on. So, like in gaming, it's still going to function the same way. It's still adding something to our reality, but it's how it is being used. So, for example, AR animation using AR is just simply adding some form of animation to our real world. So that can simply be our the chair that you're seeing here, or these moving blocks that you're seeing here. It's adding those form of animation to the real world. So what are the trends that we have today of augmented reality? Zane, you can start the reading there.
Trend 1. Mobile AR. Apple AR Kit for Google AR Core. Apple has recently released AR Kit 4, the latest version of its open source augmented reality development tools. Google's competing AR Core technology is also making great strides to keep up in the industry. Since their introduction in 2017, these tools have helped developers ease into the AR market. Because of the greater AR support, AR capable devices and their users have dramatically increased. Since 2017, Apple has revealed additional updates to ARKit, such as ARKit 2.0 at WWDC 2018, ARKit 3.0 at WWDC 2019, and finally ARKit 4.0 at WWDC 2020. Some of the newest advances related to ARKit 4.0 include location anchors, new depth API, and improved face tracking. This allows Apple's ARKit developers to tap into the power of the latest iPhone's LiDAR hardware. Meanwhile, Google's AR Core is innovating with the introduction of publicly made Street View photos. As long as an Android user has an AR Core capable smartphone, Google will accept submissions for Street View photos. Although these must meet certain quality guidelines. This demonstrates that AR Core has improved enough that Google feels confident that smartphones can take the photos necessary to incorporate with Google Maps and to add these images alongside photos taken by more specialized equipment. AR Core falls short of ARKit in terms of motion capture, simultaneous use of front and back cameras, and tracking multiple faces. The Apple App Store also has far more AR-capable apps than the Google Play Store, with over 2,000 apps available to users. However, AR Core is more widely accessible, considering the larger global market share Android over iOS. However, these variations by region. For example, iOS has a larger market share than Android in the United States in 2020. According to AR Tillery Intelligence, ARKit devices significantly outnumber AR Core devices. In 2020, there were 1,185 million ARKit devices, with AR Core only having 633 million devices. In terms of active users, the numbers are vastly different. ARKit has 950 million active users, while AR Core only has 120 million.
Okay. So for gaming, using not really only gaming, but for AR technology, do you guys notice any points from Google and Apple when it comes to using augmented reality? Any points you notice from those paragraphs?
So Apple is more advanced in using AR technology.
Good. And why are they more advanced? Why are they standing out more than Google?
They had an early start to AR technology.
Okay, good. But what makes their AR technology better? Why
It has like better face tracking.
good. So yes, so that's what I wanted to talk about. Augmented reality, it has to do with tracking of your environment. So, because remember, you're dealing with the real world now. It's not like virtual reality where you're creating a world. Augmented reality is looking at your world. It has to understand what is in your world. That is a chair, that is a person, that is a picture and not a person. That is a picture of a food, not actual food. This is real food. This is artificial food. This is plastic food. So it has to be able to tell the difference, understand these different concepts, and so on. So it has to be able to track all of these various elements. So the technology has to do that. And AR Core, which no, that's AR Kit, developed by Apple, that one is better at tracking all these elements as compared to AR Core. But even though um, AR Kit has the better technology, why is it still that AR Core, you could say it's still a little popular, a little more popular?
There's still a majority of persons that have Android devices.
Exactly. So that comes back to like the business aspect of it, the economic aspect of it. Yes, you're a great company. Your technology is great, but at the same time, are you reaching the persons that are going to afford devices? Will you reach those kind of person? Because not everyone can afford an iPhone, but a majority of persons today can afford an Android phone. So even though Apple's technology is great, persons are still going to go to Android. So in that case, there, the Google Core, the AR Core, that one is going to be a little more pop. It can still be almost as popular as the AR Kit because of having those more users you can see. All right, so AR in shopping now, Ariel.
Giving consumers a virtual option to shop has been an important trend for retail industry. Players such as American Apparel, Uniqlo, Lacoste, Kohl's, Sephora. Others have made virtual fitting rooms a reality for the customers. This allows customers to gain a try before you buy experience from home. This is especially important due to the way social distancing policies affect retail during the COVID-19 pandemic. AR is a great position to resolve this problem. This doesn't just apply to apparel. IKEA's app allows customers to see what furniture and other products might look like in their own homes using AR technology. The possibilities don't stop at home on consumers' cell phone. While in store, smart mirrors and RFID tags open up new avenues for product suggestions to customers. Virtual fitting rooms technology isn't going away anytime soon. This project global market is expected to hit 10 billion by 2027. Although the pandemic has required AR as a solution for customers who cannot come to an in-person store, the advantages, convenience, and growing acceptance of virtual fitting room technology indicate it indicate that it will remain popular for years to come. AR appeal to customers has increased due to its improved accuracy, precision, and ability to approximate the real world. By utilizing light conditions around the user, advanced facial recognition, and personalized advice, AR retail experiences are set to radically change the consumer shopping experience. According to the 2020 IBM US Retail Index report, 41% of respondents were interested in trying a virtual fitting room to enhance their shopping experience, while 18% had answered that they had already tried the technology. As AR technology matures, the comfort of use of consumers will only increase.
Good. So, how is augmented reality being used in retail and shopping today?
So that you could see how a particular clothing fit on you or something. Or
Okay.
if you want to like buy a chair, or it would fit in your house.
Good. 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 You guys get the idea. So, whatever product, whatever service they're selling, you get an idea as to how it can be used, how it would fit in your environment, how it would fit on you, how it would look, and things like that. Because remember, it's going to be in your reality, so you can actually experience it. So, three, utilizing AR for navigation now. Zin?
With more bandwidth and control over an interior environment, the advantages offered by AR for indoor navigation are clear. There are a wide range of tools that can be used to enhance this experience at different scales, such as Bluetooth beacons, ceiling antennas, and QR codes. However, in cases where a robust Wi Fi network already exists, Apple's iPhone AR is good enough to handle indoor positioning by using Wi Fi RF patterns. MobiDev's AR demo of, of indoor navigation this demonstrates in practice the potential of the technology. ARKit and ARCore based applications aid consumers with finding their way through airports, shopping malls, and other locations. In store navigation stands to improve greatly from advances in AR technology. This can help customers find exactly what they're looking for while shopping in person. Google's AR Live View walking directions for Google Maps has improved since it first entered beta in August 2019. In October 2020, Google announced several new features to improve the AR Live View experience outdoors. Among these were the ability to overlay landmarks and an expansion of Live View to more cities. Integration between Live View and Google Maps location sharing is also being rolled out to consumers in near futures. Elevation is also an important aspect in the process, which improves live view performance in hilly locations like San Francisco. Also in ARKit 4, Apple has introduced a powerful tool for outdoor AR navigation called geo-tracking, which utilizes street view to ensure best positioning.
Good. So, how is AR being used for navigation?
It shows like the street view and helps the user navigate better.
So, what are some examples of navigation? What a person's going to use it to navigate?
Like malls, streets.
Mhm. So, if you're looking for a business, if you're looking for some, well, obviously that business, that organization has to be on the map, and But I would assume you can also point to any other location and it would navigate you. It would show up like how you think it would navigate you to the various location.
There's like a guidance arrow.
But yes, might show
I
up like
was thinking the same thing,
right.
like on the road or something, it's showing you to turn. Right now.
So an arrow might come up and tell you turn left, go straight, or you
Mm-hmm.
might be seeing an arrow all the time telling you go straight all the time. And then when a corner comes up or when a aisle comes up, you see an arrow that tells you to turn left, turn right, or whatever to do. So as you look through that device, it's gonna give you those directions to navigate you to whatever your destination is. Good. Any questions so far on anything we looked at?
No, sir.
All right, four. I think that's Ariel.
The role of artificial intelligence in augmented reality cannot be understated. The high demands placed upon augmented reality software simply cannot rely solely on human programming to display virtual objects against a real world backdrop. Neural networks and machine learning can accomplish these tasks with far higher efficiency and can improve augmented reality experiences drastically. Machine learning and artificial intelligence cannot function without a strong team of data science engineers. Analysis and collection of training data is vital for the success of a machine learning program designed to support AR software. The engineers also need to carefully fine tune and optimize the model before integration and deployment. AI can also play a supportive role alongside AR. For example, automatic suggestions can be given to in person shoppers at a store using an AR experience on their smartphone. These suggestions would be driven by chatbots powered by natural language processing NLP technologies. AR driven virtual fitting room technology would not be possible without AI support. AI plays a vital role in analyzing a user's facial features and contours, as well as the rest of the body if necessary. Deloitte research concludes that augmented reality and artificial intelligence will transform the traditional healthcare business model by offering AR, MR enabled hands free solutions, and AI based diagnostic tools.
Good. So, for augmented reality to understand your environment, what basically has to happen? What does the developers have to do?
To like cooperate with each other.
Cooperate with the augmented reality?
No, as in what researchers have to do, like, I don't know.
They have to like fine tune and optimize the model before like integrating it.
Okay. So, they basically have to train or they have to program the augmented reality software to know, to understand that this is a table, this is a chair, this is a person, and so on. So, if a human was to do it, they would have to program every aspect. They would have to say that this is a chair, this is a table, this is fruits, this is vegetables. They're gonna have to keep putting that into the augmented reality software that is gonna be running. Now, that's gonna be a lot of work for a human to do to train that system to understand what are these different elements in reality. And that's where artificial intelligence comes into play. Because artificial intelligence can now train the augmented reality a lot better. So we already looked at in the last class was artificial intelligence. I remember what it is.
Yes, sir.
Was it?
I can't remember the definition you gave
Just,
directly,
just give me your idea. What you can remember.
but it's like a programmable software that recognizes and carries out functions.
Okay.
So what's the question?
What is AI?
AI isn't
In your opinion? Your what you can remember. However you can explain it. So
uh, no doctor.
what can help you to remember? I'm sure you've watched movies, and in those movies, um, like in those futuristic movies, they would always say something like artificial intelligence is going to take over the world. Is that the case? That robot
Yep.
artificial intelligence is going to take over the world. So basically, what they're trying to say is that we humans, we have intelligence. We can think, we can speak, we can make decisions, and so on. So we can look at certain things and make certain decisions. I can look at the time and realize that we're almost at the end of class. So based on that now, I can either speed up, slow down, or make some sort of decision. Now, artificial intelligence is basically the same thing, but just that a robot, or you could say a computer, is what is functioning there. This computer now is going to take in information, just like how I just took in the information of the time, it's going to take in information also. And from that information, it's going to make certain decisions. How does it make those decisions? Well, artificial intelligence has to be trained. So that's why they would feed it a lot of data. So they might feed it like about, say for instance, this chair here. If they want artificial intelligence to the system to know what is a chair, what they're gonna do, they're gonna feed the system thousands of images of chairs, all variety of chairs, different colors, different shapes, different sizes, a wide variety. It's gonna constantly be feeding the system all of those images, and they're gonna tell the AI that look, all of these images are chairs. So it's gonna train itself now to recognize that all of these are chairs, and what it can do now, it can look at the patterns between the chairs to see what makes one chair different from the other. Because remember, it's a computer, it can do that. It can analyze all of that data and try to figure out what makes this chair different from the other chair. What's the variation? What's the difference between the two? And when it looks at that now, it can basically make predictions now. It can say that a chair, even though, say for instance, it never saw this image of this chair, this particular chair here. So without an image of it, it would not know that it is a chair. But because it has all of those thousands, hundreds of thousands of images of a chair already, it can basically look at its database and say that, look, um, there are objects similar to what I'm seeing right now, and it's just slightly different. Maybe some of the patterns slightly different, and then it's going to look at basically similar images that might have similar patterns and so on. And once it basically matches up with what it has recorded and say that, oh, basically look, this almost is like 90% a chair, then it can make a decision and say that, look, it is in fact a chair. Because it's not like us humans where we can look at something and say we know with 100% guaranteed this is a chair. Unless it is trained, it will not know. But if you train it enough, it can start making certain suggestions, certain decisions based on the information it already has. So it's like it is learning and it is applying what it is learning. So that's how artificial intelligence works. So if you incorporate it with augmented reality now, remember you have to train augmented reality to know the environment. So AI now can train the augmented reality to learn that this is a chair and these are the variety of chairs. This is a person and this is the variety of persons. Some persons have big eyes, some persons have small eyes, some persons have a big nose, some persons have a small nose. They have a big head, they have long hair, they have short hair. The AI can train that augmented reality system to be able to detect all of those things. So that's how the two are working together today. Because both of them need to be trained, but one is going to be trained already, the AI, and is going to train the augmented reality system. You guys following enough?
Yes, sir.
Any questions?
Nope.
All right. Just quite a few more. All right, let's try to finish up this quickly. 5 remote assistants and virtual manuals. Who wants to read it?
I think it's me.
Okay.
Although only some percent of the workforce in the United States has an access to telework options, 30% of the US jobs have the potential of being possible via telework. However, according to the Brookings Institution, about half of the employed US adults work from home. Despite these discrepancies, it is clear that telework has increased dramatically since the beginning of COVID pandemic. The Brookings Institution also predicts that current trends of telework will continue long after the pandemic has passed. Because of the increase in telework, new solutions are needed to maintain the efficiency of certain professions that formerly operated in person. IT computer IT computer repair is a great example. Augmented reality can allow IT technicians to give guidance to customers using on-screen directions. As the customer holds their smartphone camera up to the computer in need of service, the IT technician can draw over the screen to direct the customer to certain points of interest. MobiDev's AR demo video showcases this technology in action. Remote assistance via an AR experience can be built with WebRTC. This allows for both parties to connect to one another and see the same AR experience via a peer-to-peer connection. This is essential to make sure that video is sent in real time without causing server load challenges. AR-based virtual user manuals provide details on the vehicle dashboard or give workers insights into the factory machinery. The demo below presents a virtual user instruction for a coffee machine.
Good. So how can virtual reality, not virtual, augmented reality, be used in this area here? Remote assistance and virtual manuals.
Sir, could you repeat that one more time?
How is augmented reality used in these two areas?
Well, it
Based on
allows professionals to guide like customers.
good. So we had that experience with that technician there, whereby if they're doing some repair in the computer, if it's a software problem, simple software problem, navigate to Windows, click on this option and all of that, then they can easily navigate that person, right? Now for virtual manuals, we have the example here of the demo of a virtual instruction of a coffee machine. Any idea how that works? Or what you think that is?
So like um instructions on how to use a coffee maker or something.
Good. But how would it be? How would you get that instructions?
Like there's an animation showing you the different steps.
Right. Good. So you're gonna be looking through your device, and you might see that how you might see animation of the maybe a mug moving or the handle moving, a hand appear and turn the handle, and this can open, and you're gonna see these parts inside of it. So you don't have to go and physically do it, but based on the augmented reality, you can see it happening in real time, where it is happening, what you have to do, how you have to turn this handle, how you have to navigate these elements and so on, instead of you physically doing anything. So it gives you a visual representation. So it's like if you call a friend and you ask a friend how to open this coffee machine, they can tell you turn this, press this button, do that, and you got to figure out in your mind now what you mean turn this, what you mean press this lever, what does it mean? You got to figure it out in your mind now. But with the virtual reality, the augmented reality system, you can get a visual representation of what exactly he's talking about for the virtual manual. So the next trend, Ariel.
Augmented reality has had a large impact on the automotive industry. One of the more clear applications of this technology is through the use of heads up display HUDs, which consumers will be familiar with in their favorite video games and movies. However, AR HUDs will serve a practical purpose for drivers that will allow them to process information that supports their view of the road rather than obstructs it. The most important practical application of an AR HUD is drivers is safety. So HUD can make drivers aware of potential hazards that might have gone unnoticed without posing a distraction or obstructing their view of the road. Nissan Invisible to Visible 12V, no I2V technology already uses AR and AI to make drivers aware of potential hazards, such as nearby objects. The system can also redirect the driver's focus to the road if their attention begins to wander. Aside from AR's application for driving, AR can be used for automotive marketing. BMW and Accenture design an AR application that allows customers to experience a new car in their driveway without having to go to the dealership. They can also see what the virtual car looks like in different colors. A particularly interesting case of AR development in the automotive industry is Volvo's use of the Barjo XR, one I mean. Mixed reality headset is display virtual Mixed reality headset to display virtual object to a driver while on the road. This has applications to drivers' education as it could be used to prepare drivers to stop for virtual hazards that appear in front of them. This technology can also be used to showcase new vehicles to customers.
Good. So how can augmented reality be used to help driving?
To keep the driver safe, basically.
Good. Well, how? How can it be used practically?
It could tell them when there is a hazard or any danger that they may not see.
Good. Very good. So remember, the system is going to be scanning the environment constantly all the time. So you can look at the environment. Maybe say for example here in Guyana, there's a pothole. So it might highlight around the pothole like a small thin line, because remember you can't do it in such a way that it obscures our vision. So around the pothole might be a thin line, but just enough for us to take notice of it, and that way it will stand out to us. Say for example a speed bump coming up, it might highlight that speed bump so that we can take notice of it. Or even if a person was to be on the road, and if they're at a close enough distance to the road, that maybe it can highlight that person once again, and show that they are too close to the road and they are a potential hazard. So that's how augmented reality can be used. And I actually like this one here. The system can also redirect a driver's focus to the road if the attention begins to wander. So, because remember, it's going to be tracking your environment. So it's going to be tracking, are you looking at the road? So maybe something is going to pop up if you look away, or if you turn your head, a pop-up is going to appear that's showing that, look, you're supposed to be focused on the road. So that's actually a nice one there. All right, next, portable augmented reality.
Augmented reality is relatively convenient on a smartphone, but in its current form, it isn't nearly as convenient for shoppers and everyday tech consumers. Holding up a cell phone can be relatively distracting and also takes the immersion of an AR experience. AR experiences through a headset are vastly superior to viewing simulated objects through a smartphone's camera. However, headsets like Microsoft's HoloLens and the Varjo XR1 are far too bulky and expensive to be used for non-enterprise users in their current forms. Although progress is slow, the industry is gradually working its way toward treating AR headsets as wearable technology in the same category as smartwatches and earbuds. Once AR headsets become comfortable, affordable, and socially accessible, AR's importance and demand will skyrocket. Multiple companies are developing AR glasses that would be more feasible for consumers' use. Apple Glass is an alleged consumer-focused AR glasses project that may be released in the next few years. Artillery Intelligence expects that the market for this technology will grow from 822 million to 1.1 to 13.4 billion by 2024. AR glasses may not be here just yet. It may take several years before they can have a major stake in the market. Once they do, however, AR glasses will be a major driver of the industry.
Good. So to use augmented reality today, basically for the average person, we have to use our phones, because remember, all of us, we already have that device. Most of us already have a phone. So, but using a phone is not that great of an experience for augmented reality, because you constantly have to hold the phone to look through that reality. So it's like the same with the Nintendo 3DS game, the Nintendo DS game. You have to be holding the Nintendo game all the time in whatever direction. You have to constantly be moving, holding up the device, and that would have exhausted you. So they're looking for methods whereby you can wear something. You can have a headset, and you can wear that and be able to experience the reality. So like what you're seeing here, you're gonna have something that's on your head so that you can see the reality. But the technology that we have today, it's a bit bulky, it's a bit big. So what they're aiming for is some thin glasses, like maybe something like this here, that it doesn't take up too much. So like Microsoft HoloLens, let's see what this looks like. Good. So this is Microsoft HoloLens. So it's not that bulky. And that's basically what they're aiming for. So just a pair of glasses that can be used to experience the augmented reality. All right, 8. Ariel.
Augmented reality can greatly enhance in person and virtual events such as career fairs and sports events. This can be done via dedicated apps or through web AR solutions. AR events can provide unique experiences to attendees as well as provide them with a way of interacting despite restrictions like quarantine. AR-powered career fairs. Traditional career fairs are wholly in-person experiences or are meditated through Zoom web conferencing. However, AR-powered career fairs such as the Portnodo Virtual Careers Fair have been developed by Aircards in collaboration with GradBay. The original career fair was cancelled due to public health restrictions because of COVID-19. The result of the project produced an immersive AR career fair experience that anyone could go to by pointing their smartphone at a large flat outdoor space. Videos can be seen on displays on the virtual tables and describe more about the particular graduate career and business. On top of it all, the experience is powered by Web AR, requiring no app downloads to function. This makes Web AR more accessible to users, which can be critical for marketing purposes. Being the largest platform, Web AR, which has 3.04 billion download, billion compatible devices, is still in the early stages, but powerful shifts are already moving brands in its direction.
Good. So we can use augmented reality to experience certain events like a career fair or some sort of public event. Instead of just being physically there, we can have the reality of being in that environment. AR in sports events. Alright, well, we get the idea of AR in those environments. So it's gonna be the same like for sports events. Instead of you being at the event, you'll be able to like be in the crowd or something of that sort to experience the game and so on. Alright. Alright, just a few more and then we're gonna wrap up. So AR in remote education, Zain.
Educational institutions have been some of the hardest hit by social distancing policies in the face of the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic. However, augmented reality has a number of applications that can help improve the learning experience for e-learning students. Wikitude has created an app called AIR Core. This app is aimed at helping elementary school students learn concepts by using augmented reality experiences. The potential of augmented reality to increase a student focus on course content while at home cannot be understated. The technology also makes learning modes at home more diverse by expanding visual content for more visual focused learners. This can help break up monotonous video conferencing and recorded lecture note taking to improve student engagement. One of the primary advantages of augmented reality in the educational space is the ability for a student to inspect a model from many different angles on their own. By moving around a virtual object or rotating it in space, they can better examine and understand certain concepts. Most importantly, it allows students the benefit of at-home experiential learning. This kind of learning is more likely to be remembered and understood by students compared to other methods.
Okay. So I'm sure that because for when you're going through these notes here that you're not seeing images, you're not seeing any referencing, that it's kind of a struggle to understand because you gotta figure out, you gotta think of what to how to relate it and then you're gonna understand it, right? So without images it's kind of hard to learn. So that's why they introduce AR in education so that you can look at something and you can basically have a visual representation of it. So for example, um, this AR of a volcano, how it actually functions. So remember in school they're gonna ask you to build a volcano, but you don't see the inside. Now with AR, you will be able to see the inside, how everything basically works together, or how it functions to get that eruption there basically. So You could see a heart, you could move the heart, look at it from different directions, and so on, to be able to understand its structure. So that's AR there in education. And then lastly, we have LiDAR.
LiDAR technology is seeing more support on consumer devices such as the iPhone 12 Pro and iPhone 12 Pro Max, as well as the iPad Pro 2020. The trend of LiDAR being used on the scale of consumer devices opens by a wide range of possibilities for AR technologies in 2021. LiDAR incorporation into Apple's products arsenal began with the iPad Pro in 2020. However, now that the scanner has been incorporated into the iPhone 12 Pro, consumers now have access to one of the most advanced portable AR solutions out there. One of the most important opportunities that LiDAR provides oc- is people occlusion. This allows for more immersive AR experiences by allowing people in the frame to occlude virtual objects. Onboarding and preparing a scene to the populated with virtual objects is another important step. In AR and LiDAR vastly improves upon. This allows for virtual objects to be placed in a scene much more quickly as data from the sensor can be processed more quickly. LiDAR's incorporation into more portable platforms again suggests the development of more portable and comfortable head-mounted AR devices like eyeglasses.
Good. So LiDAR. Anybody know what is LiDAR?
Absolutely not.
No, sir.
So LiDAR is a technology. If you first look at it, it's a technology that is used to measure light. So we know that light travels at a certain speed. So because we know light travels at that certain speed, we can measure distance because the light, we can measure how long it takes to go from point A to point B. And with that now, we can measure distance. That's basically LiDAR. Um, LiDAR is a method for determining ranges, variable distance by targeting an object with a laser and measuring the time it is reflected. So, reflected light to return to the receiver. So, it's measuring that distance using a light, in this case, a laser. So, remember in augmented reality, we have to basically track our environment. So how can we track our environment? Well, this is one method here. And because the technology is popular in mobile devices now, it is now easy for us to implement. It's easier for us to implement augmented reality in these Apple phones because of that technology here. All right. So, what's the future of augmented reality? Your final reading.
With AR's value in the market climbing up to 25 billion by 2025, the future of augmented reality is bright. This growth will only continue for years to come, determined by investments from the business domains and spheres in the following charts. Gaming has the highest share of the industry's revenue and will remain a relevant driver of augmented reality. Practical uses of AR, such as those used by the healthcare and engineering industries, will also gain traction. Real estate and corporate campus navigation will benefit from AR solutions and interactive walkthroughs. These can use mixed or augmented reality environments. Mobile AR still remains a vital tool. For further reading,
All right, we can skip that. So, looking at the chart here, would you guys also agree that video games are the driving force for augmented reality?
yes, sir.
Right, I would say that also because video games, you can say that it has more users than these other areas in society, healthcare, engineering, and so on. Yes, it has its uses in those areas, but in terms of video games, it has more users, so more persons are going to make use of it in that environment, and so video games are basically what's going to be driving augmented reality to get better. So we looked at how augmented reality is being used currently, how it's going to be used in the future. So in our next class, we're going to look at what is gesture based and how that is going to grow in the future also. Alright, so please don't forget what you have to do for your IAs. So if you guys don't have any questions, we are going to end here for today.